Hello and welcome! It's time for another Spellbinders 10 cards, 1 kit with their March card kit of 2021. I loved this even before I took it out of the box because it is called Celebrate Spring. I'm totally ready for spring. I'm sure you all are too. But let's take this out and take a look at what's inside. It's always packed full of lovely crafty goodness. So let's find the contents page. This will tell you everything that's included with the kit. And then they give you some pretty card examples. And then on the flip side, they give you an example of how to use the dies included in this kit. So I'm going to dive straight for the dies. I really have been enjoying their dies because they coordinate with the stamp sets lately. So let's just pull these right out and see which ones go along with the stamps. So there are 17 dies in this pack, and a lot of them cut out the sentiments, which is so fun to have. It's nice to be able to cut them out around the words instead of just in a straight banner strip. With this die, you can create a beautiful square frame around your bunny. And then let's talk about this cute little bunny. He is so sweet, and it cuts around his arm so you can put or tuck something inside his arms. And then if you are fond of critter stamp sets, this one will give you your cute critter fix. I just love all of the images of these animals in this set. And then you get lots of flowers and stems, and even some clover for St. Patrick's Day. Okay, so I like to store all of my dies on my Spellbinders diamond. I haven't lost a die yet doing this, so I'll just pick all of these up with this magnet and sit it on the side of my desk. Then it's there, handy, ready for me to use. Here's a closer look at this darling stamp set. Here are your 10 card bases and 10 envelopes, and your foam adhesive and double-sided adhesive. Here is the pack of die-cut shapes. I'll show you those in just a minute. And then this time you get some beautiful gems, and they're flecked with gold. They were a lot of fun to use. You get some beautiful butterflies and some puffy stickers. Now let's take a look at the pattern paper. This one does not disappoint. It's full of some really cute springtime patterns. I'll flip through this for you. You get some bunnies and plaids, stripes. Get some really cute plaids in this one. And I love that faux pink wood. This blue brush strokes one is pretty. And I love the black and white stripes. Many of them have gold foiling on them, which is really pretty. So you get 2 of each pattern. And now let me show you the cardstock. You always get a piece of gold mirror cardstock. You get some gray, a dark pink and a light pink, a white. You get kind of a mint green and a light blue, a lavender and a bright yellow. I'm going to leave this paper here and use it as a backdrop for the die-cut shapes. Let's open this up, and I'm going to quickly go through these just to give you an idea of what they look like. Some of them have really bold colors on them, and then others are just really soft pastels like those flowers. As always, you get a lot of sentiments, a lot of florals, and you get a lot of cute critters in this pack this time. I used to keep them in the box while I was creating and sort of sort through them. But for the past few kits, I've been laying them out on the floor next to my desk so I could see all of them and not have to sort through them in the box. So let's start with card number 1. I'm going to use a piece of this cute teal dotted pattern paper. It's a little bit smaller than my card base. And I'm going to create a window scene. This piece of gold mirror cardstock is going to act as the windowsill, and this is from the inside looking out. So I'll put that down. And then I'm going to adhere down the window next. And I'm just doing this with some dot liner. You can, of course, use the double-sided adhesive, but it takes up a lot of time with editing, so that's why I just use my dot liner. I'll center that. And then for the flower pots, I thought I would pop them up with some of the foam adhesive. These say bloom and grow. So it's like a little herb garden that some people keep in front of their kitchen windows. Next, I'll put this little picture of flowers. I don't really have a window in my kitchen that I can store herbs and flowers on. I just have a big sliding door. And I do keep plants kind of on the floor, propped up on a pedestal next to the door. But I think sometimes it would be nice to have a window where you can put all of your cute flowers and herbs. I'm going to pull out this lemon sticker, find a place for that. This is going to be a note card or a non-occasion card. I'll add these little banners at the top. One of them is this cute yellow floral, and the other one says Happy Day. I'll add these up at the top and just kind of layer them. And then there were some cute heart die cut shapes, and I'm going to pop these up with foam adhesive. That's all there really is to this card. I used that strip of leftover pattern paper for the inside. I always like to decorate the insides of my cards, but this is as far as I got this time. I am going to go back and add sentiments and die cut shapes on the insides of all of my cards. Here is a close-up look at card number 1. And now on to card number 2. I love these little wood slices in different colors. I'm going to stamp out a sentiment on this teal one. And I'm going to use the one that says, "Good friends are a great gift." I'll center that on this little wood slice. Then I am going to heat emboss it with white embossing powder. The white embossing powder really pops and looks nice on top of this teal color. So I'll use my anti-static powder first. And then I'll ink up the stamp with some Versamark ink, which is some nice, clear, sticky ink. I always like to stamp it up a few times to get a good impression. And then I can pour over my white embossing powder. I am going to find my tweezers and hold on to it with the tweezers so that I don't burn my fingers while I melt the embossing powder. And this card I'm putting together is probably one of my favorites of my set of 10. So I'm going to use the beautiful piece of blue brush stroke paper. And again, it's a little bit smaller than my card base. I like the white matting or outline around the pattern paper. I'll use this big floral piece first. And then I'm going to pop up my sentiment with some foam adhesive. And then I'm going to just layer the flowers and greenery around it. This is really a simple card. I really like how this one turned out. These florals are so soft and pretty. They don't overwhelm the sentiment at all. I really liked that. And the leaves I glued down flat, except for this last one here I popped up with some foam strips. Just tuck that under the flower. I am going to use some of these pretty gold-flecked gemstones. And I chose the blue ones because they were soft and matched the pattern paper really well, but they didn't overwhelm the card. It's just a soft, pretty card. Just putting 3 of those down on the card panel. And here's a close-up look at card number 2. On to card number 3, I'm going to use the cute bunny pattern paper and a piece of the green cardstock. Just cut off the overhang and attach this to my card base. This is a really simple card, but I like how it turned out. So the sentiment says friends, and I'm attaching the grass on top of it, just using some of the double-sided adhesive. This will hold it in place really well. And I'm going to pop it up with some of the foam adhesive. And then I'm going to use these two cute little bunny die-cut shapes. Put them down flat on the card. I wasn't sure whether I wanted to use that large sentiment that says best that you see at the top right of the screen. But I decided instead to use some more of the banners, the die-cut shaped banners. I'm going to put them on the card kind of curved. I'll move this first one down a little bit. So it looks like they're attached to a string, but I don't really have a string there. I think it would be cute if you did put a string there and tied a bow on one side. But I popped these up with some foam adhesive as well. I'm going to put the dot liner on the card base this time. The panel was just too dimensional. I didn't want to squish it. So now I'll pick up the card panel and just center that. And here's a close-up look. Very simple, but very sweet. On to the next card. I loved the window die-cut shape, so I'm going to use the second one. They always have two of each die-cut shapes in that pack. And then, of course, I'll have to use the window pattern paper. I'll put a strip of the gray cardstock down the middle. And this is a view from the outside of the window. I'll just center that. The window is going to go down flat with some dot liner. And then this little box of flowers or crate, whatever it is, I'm going to pop up with some foam adhesive and put under the window. I'm going to make this look a little fuller with these leaves. I'm carefully lifting up the flower crate die-cut shape and sticking it under there. I should have added this before I put the flower crate down. I guess I could have cut off the stems too and just kind of stuck them to the side. It would work just as well. But I'm going to add a little bit of liquid adhesive just to make sure they stay in place. I'm using some of the new Barely Art Precision Craft glue from Spellbinders. It has a very fine tip on the end of it. It's really nice. And then the sentiment on the box is cute. It says love, but I'm going to put over a different sentiment over top of it. This says with love, and I stamped this and cut it out with the coordinating die. Then I'm just adding a little bit of gray Copic marker to add some shading. This just will add a little more interest to the card. I'll put it on the edges of the banners, and then I'm coming in with a softer, paler gray to put some color down in the middle where the banner kind of dips. And then I'm going to add some pops of color with the pink gold flecked gemstones. This will bring out the pink in the flowers. I found that the sticky backing sometimes falls off, and I used just some more of the precision glue behind it. This will keep it in place. And you might want to do that with all of the gemstones that you adhere to the card just to ensure that they're not going to be falling off when you send it out into the mail. Here's a close-up look. And on to the next card. I love this piece of plaid pattern paper. It's so Eastery looking to me. And I'm going to put a strip of gold on the end of it, or the edge. I'll adhere this down onto the card base. The card base has some really lovely texture to it, so I don't mind the card base showing. And then I did cut out two of the clover die cut frames and glued them together. I'll use this as a very subtle border decoration. And then I'm going to use the flower crate again, but I'll cut off the overhang. This frame die that I'm using as a border, they fit together so beautifully. It's just so delicate and pretty. I'll add a little bit of grass on my crate and just snip off the excess. This is going to be another non-occasion card, just a little note card to send out into the mail. And then I'll pop this up with some foam adhesive. I'll add a few of the yellow gold flecked gems. And I'm going to glue the first two in place. Just the backing just kept coming off. And then I'll put a third one on the piece of gold paper. I like how these come in different sizes. And here is a close-up look at the card. Very simple, but I like how springy and Eastery it is. And that strip of gold just makes it pop. On my next card, I'm going to be using the border die again. I keep calling it a border die, but it's really meant to create this beautiful square frame. And I cut it out with the bright yellow cardstock. I love the yellow on top of the gray cardstock. This is a very Pantone colored card this time, the yellow and the gray. Then I'm just using my dot liner, and it does get on my work mat, but it just sticks to the paper. It doesn't stick to the gaps or the open flowers. So it works really nicely. But I do have to clean my mat off afterwards. Look how delicate and pretty that frame is. And then here is the cute little die-cut bunny. I stamped and die-cut the little posy. I'll attach that in his hands or under his arm. And then there is a die included that will cut out the inside of the bunny's ears, but I didn't realize that while I was creating these cards. So if you want to put little pink ears on this bunny, you could do that as well. My sentiment says, "From your friends," and I cut it out with the coordinating die. And I'm going to pop this up with a foam strip. I used the frame die cut to cut out some gold mirror cardstock, and the little hearts you see on the right come from that die cut. They're the little hearts inside the clover. They're so pretty. So instead of gemstones, I'm going to use those to decorate my card panel. I'll just get this sentiment down straight. They're so little that I have to use my jewel picker to pick these up and adhere them down on this card. But I like that little pop of gold, so pretty. Here's a close-up look at the card. That little pink cheek on the bunny is so adorable. For my next card, I'm going to use the critter die-cut shapes and this cute piece of plaid pattern paper. When my pattern paper is the same size as my card base, I like to just stand it up like that and press them together. It seems to do the trick of getting them on straight. I cut out some ovals and circles with the cardstock from the kit. And I'm going to create little windows behind these critters using these. The larger animals are going to be on the ovals and the smaller ones on the circles. But these I'm putting down flat. And then the little critters, I am going to pop them up with some foam adhesive. You could, of course, stamp out the critters from the stamp set and color them in, which would be a lot of fun. But I just decided to use the die-cut shapes this time. They were really cute. So let's pull off the backing from these and try and get off my finger there. And I'll center these on the windows behind them. I use a lot of foam tape, so I had to pull some out of my stash for some of these cards. This little fox, I think he's my favorite. He's so cute. I decided to put one more little piece of foam tape behind the fox's head just to give him more stability. I stamped out the sentiment that says, "Good friends are a great gift." I really loved this sentiment, and I used the coordinating die to cut it out. I'm going to pop this up with a foam piece. And this will fit just perfectly in between the squirrel and the hedgehog. I'll use multiple colors of the gems around this panel. It's a very colorful, fun little card. And again, I'm gluing some of these down. Once in a while, they will put these gold flecked gems in the kits, and I really love it when they do because they're so pretty. Makes a fun change from the sequins. I'm going to put a little blue one down at the bottom. And then here is a close-up look at the card. So much fun. I'm going to have to make another one of this card. I really liked it. On to my next card. This is going to be a good luck card. I'm using 2 different pattern papers on this card, and then a piece of the pink cardstock. I loved these clover die cut shapes. I'm going to use both of them on this card. I like sometimes putting the cards on wonky. It just gives it a cute touch. So I'll glue these clovers down flat. And I didn't put any glue behind the stems because I'm going to use some baker's twine to tie a bow around them. So this is a piece of pink and white baker's twine. It will help break up some of the green of this card. I'll tie a bow. And then I always like to use a glue dot behind the knot. This really keeps it in place. I'll just peel it off with my all-in-one tool. Then I can just easily stick it behind the knot. And then give that a good press. Now let's trim off the ends of this bow. I usually use my Tim Holtz scissors for this, but my scissors always seem to disappear. I think my son borrowed them. So I'm just working with what I have. And now for another little bunny. Everything's just going down flat on the card this time. And then for another touch of pink, I'm going to add the pink gemstones around this panel. These will also help to break up all of that green a little bit. Couldn't decide where to put this last gem. And here's the finished card. I wish I had the insides of the cards to show you. They always include so many die cut shapes that there's plenty left over to decorate the insides. On card number 9, I'm going to use another piece of this cute plaid pattern paper. I cut out an egg shape using one of the Spellbinders' recent releases for Easter. I'll have that linked below. It came with some really beautiful ornate Easter eggs. And then I'm using more of the flowers, and I popped them up with foam tape, and I'm just going to adhere them below the Easter egg. I'm going to glue the leaves down first this time before I adhere the flowers. This will be a fun springtime note card to send out into the mail. So let's adhere down this cute teal greenery die cut shape. And then I used the bunny die again to create this cute little bunny. I was having a lot of fun with the bunnies this time. I'm going to glue him down flat on top of this egg, as well as the banner. I thought this little happiness banner was perfect to put behind his arm. And then to finish off the card, I used some yellow gemstones. And here is the completed card. For my last card, I'm going to use this pretty faux wood pattern paper. I'm also using the second set of wood slices. These were just too cute. And a piece of the black and white striped pattern paper. So this will go down first on the side. This is another note card. The sentiment is just going to say adored. But first let's put down the wood slices. 2 of them are going to go down flat. And each of them is going to have a flower attached to it. So the yellow one's going to go down flat. I'll put this little yellow sprig in front of it, but I'm going to trim it down just a little bit so that it fits. And then the rest of it's going to be covered up by the pink wood slice. And the pink wood slice I popped up with some foam adhesive just to give this card a little bit of dimension. So I used up all of the card bases from the kit as usual, but this time I really want to use up all of the envelopes and start sending out more of my cards. So I'll glue these flowers down flat on the wood slices, and then this cute little butterfly, I'm going to use a small piece of foam adhesive behind it. And just pop that up a little bit. I kind of curled up the wings. The sentiment, I also used some foam adhesive behind. Then I'll attach 3 of the yellow gemstones. It's just a nice pop of color. Thanks so much for spending a little bit of your time with me today. I hope you were inspired. I'll have all of the links to the products listed below, as well as over at my blog. And if you want to see still shots of all of these cards, I'll have them at my blog as well. Well, happy springtime crafting, everyone. I hope you all have a wonderful crafty day. Bye.